Thanks for joining us again. I'm here with Richard Winters, the wonderful horse trainer. Richard, thank you so much for giving us some of your time this afternoon. How has your day been today?
This has been an exciting day. We are so thrilled to be here. It's our first time in Australia, our first time to EQUITANA. The reputation of this event has carried all the way to the U.S. We've heard a lot about it, so to be a part of it this year is really a privilege for my daughter Sarah, who's doing demonstrations with us this week, and my wife Cheryl, who is here. We're having a great time. What a great event.
Oh, that's so fantastic to hear. Thanks, Richard, because we really love it out here as well. Now, I'd love to hear a little bit about where you began and, what your involvement was with horses as a young boy and where it all started.
Sure. As a little boy, I never wanted to be an astronaut or a policeman or a fireman. All I ever thought about was horses and being a cowboy and being a horseman, whatever that meant. That's all I ever wanted to do. But we lived in town, and my mom and dad didn't have horses. They didn't know anything about horses. And so as a young, maybe 12-year-old boy, I wore out a lot of bicycles because there was a stable 7 miles from my home, and I would pedal my bicycle out to that stable and just be the proverbial stable brat, just hanging out, getting in the way, getting in trouble, looking for an opportunity. Could I help the old man feed the horses at night? Could I saddle up the dude horses on Saturday morning? And that's what I did as a grade school boy until I started getting some opportunities. In junior high, I had the opportunity to go up every summer for 4 summers and wrangle dude horses in the mountains, and that gave me some experience around horses. In high school, I went to work for a horse trainer as an apprentice. I went to a horseshoeing school during my high school years for 9 months and became a certified farrier, and I've never looked back. That's all I've ever done.
So, you really wanted that dream and you chased after it. That's really amazing.
That's right. I was pretty focused.
That's fantastic. I think that a lot of our watchers out there, sometimes they don't really know what is the best way to get into horses. And I think you've just proven there that if you just keep chasing that dream, that it can happen for you.
Well, it's a little tricky, isn't it? Because if I wanted to be a doctor or a carpenter or any other profession, there are career paths that you can follow. Your college counselor will help you and tell you what courses to take. But for horsemanship, it's a little more loosey-goosey. It's not really outlined like that. And the vast majority of horsemen and horsewomen went through the very typical apprenticeship program with someone working for somebody for next to no pay, maybe no pay, just for the opportunity to be around those horses. And so if you're willing to work very, very hard for very, very little for those first few years, then it can pay dividends down the road. But you've got to have that passion. And isn't it interesting? I mean, all the people that are here, we just did a clinic with problem solving, and all the horses, it was women that were there because it's a girls' deal. I'm a little bit of an anomaly because it's girls and horses. It's oftentimes not so much the men that are into horses, although it seems like we're seeing more and more come out all the time. My wife and I have 2 children. Our daughter, it's all she ever thought about was horses, and our son could take them or leave them. So I think you have that gene or you don't have that gene.
I think you're absolutely right there. And was there someone who you looked up to when you were younger, that you saw and you went, wow, they really inspire me and I really want to be like them?
Well, anybody that looked like a cowboy was my hero, from John Wayne to Roy Rogers, and because it was all so far removed from me when I was just a very little boy. The closest I was to having play horses to, down there on the ground in my bedroom to play with. But as I got a little bit older and began to understand what the horse world was about, I began to recognize that there were some people that really had something special with horses. There were a lot of horseback riders, but maybe not too many horsemen, and I put them in 2 very distinct categories. Anybody can be a horseback rider. That's just the art of not falling off. But to be a horseman, now that's a special thing. And when I said I went to work for a trainer as an apprentice in high school, that was really my first introduction to higher levels of horsemanship. A man who is now deceased, but from the United States, his name was Troy Henry, and he was truly a horseman that gave me the introduction to higher levels of horsemanship.